Welcome to Susan's Garden. We're going to make today a calla lily, which is a rhizome that has become known as the Easter lily here in the United States. The dyes that all come in the package produce the flower, the stamen, and the calyx that it'll set into, and the leaves. We're going to take the flower, and I know you're going to say it looks like a cupcake, which maybe it does. And I'm actually going to put it on my non-stick sheet here because I want to add some color. As you can see in this finished one, the green, the bright green color down the throat of the flower. So I'm going to take some of the pan pastels and I'm going to shade that base there with the green. Now just for a little bit more detail, I'll probably add some to the other side, just to give that look, and it gives you that nice depth of shade. Now I'm going to place it back on my molding pad, and I'm going to first use the large ball stylus because this is a pretty big piece, and just by pressing down and maybe little circular motions, start reshaping that paper and softening it. It kind of restructures the fibers of the paper and gets it to soften up a bit. And then I can take the loop tool and drag it down through the piece and give even more shaping, so I'll be able to form this. Now you'll see that this is the wider part, which is the part that lays open. I'm going to start with let's see, take some tweezers here and start folding that down. It's easier to do it this way rather than after it's been bent into shape to get some shaping on that edge. And the little curl at the end, if you'll take your tweezers and pinch around that, and you can see up close here how tight that becomes, but that gives you the detail of what you need for your final flower. Now once I've shaped it all around, I'm going to fold it in and roll it towards the other side. And where it connects, I'll take a toothpick and add a little bit of glue and right along the edge there, closing it up again to seal, like I've done on this one here. So I'll change out and show you that it's been glued together. And now a little bit of that, I'm going to go back and add a little bit more bend to the edges, and you've got the form of your flower. Now the other piece that makes it so distinctive are the long stems. Now we're not going to create a long stem, but we want to make that look of the calyx that it sits into. So this little piece, if you can see, has tabs on it. Now I'm going to soften it a little bit with my loop tool. If you take and just pull across it, it just softens the paper a little bit so it's a little bit more manageable. And where those little tabs are, take your tweezers and bend in on them on either side. And you've created, now when you fold it together, I'm going to take the toothpick once more and adding a little bit of glue down the side of it. Roll your tweezer right into it. And then the nice thing about these reverse tweezers, these closed tweezers, is they act as a clamp. So while that glue is setting for just a second, you can hold your tweezers right there. So I've got a piece here that's already set. You can go ahead and dip your flower end into the glue and then place it right into the calyx. That way, when you set it on your project, you can add your leaves. The other thing that has to be shaped is the stamen, and if you look inside the finished flower, that's that yellow piece in there. I'm going to first shape it a bit or soften it with the loop tool on the molding pad. That makes it a little bit easier for it to roll, and it does just that. You take your tweezers and roll it to the other side, unroll it a bit, add glue there, and roll it back. So you get a piece that looks like this. Now if you happen to have an open end like I have here and you haven't been able to close it very well, you can always take a little bit of the paper pen and at the end there, dab a little bit in there to close it up. It's a little bit of the yellow, if you can see. Now what I'm going to do is brush some glue onto that, as I've done here. I've already coated this a little bit, but I'm going to take it over here to my pollen and roll it into the yellow like I did for some other flowers. And that gives it the nice texture that you see. And then if you take and dip your end right into the glue, you can add it right down into the throat of the flower. And there's your finished flower with the stamen inside. Once that's on your project, we can do the leaves as we've placed here. The leaves are done on the leaf pad, and let's shape them with the leaf tool. Again, they're going to have a stem line that goes down the center, but they don't have veining. So what I want to do is accentuate that stem line and add a little bit of the pan pastels, just so you can see that stem line ever so clearly. I'll take your tweezers, and then I'm going to bend up. Pinch that one end and start bending down on the leaf as I go around. Now I have done some other leaves here, and if you've noticed on some of the varieties, you'll see this speckling. There's a pigment pens, and I'm going to add a few of the just dashed lines of white, and that does your leaf, the detail of it. Now once your flower is in place on your project, just take and dip your leaves in, and you can tuck them under your, in fact, let's add an extra one here. It's a beautiful evergreen plant, and it's very pretty in a bouquet.